judges thing, or we?
Yeah, let's bring it
close. We have to.
I'll bring it in.
So you need to run over
Keep him by your side?
No, so I set him up along the front.
Oh, okay.
Line them up.
water. Perfect.
That's why I
Oh wait, crap.
You guys see like internal contrast.
Yeah.
We ready?
Okay. Can you copy this link and post it on our Facebook? And then this link you're right. Yeah.
And yes, okay. Just get it before. Okay. Okay. I will. Judges, they can sit wherever they want. They should. Yeah. Or let's see what yeah. Yeah. No.
Oh, wait, really?
Hey Robert, are we all good to go?
You want me to start my opening remarks before getting settled in?
I think just 1 second. Okay.
You'll be able to do that.
You want me to say anything? Oh, yeah, I mean, but apart from that,
Is there anything you change before you publish this? You can go ahead and publish it. I do want to change one thing on the live stream, but that'll be easy. Can you look at what things you have open? And we just need to plug this puppy in.
Right.
Okay. Hopefully this doesn't turn your computer off.
Yeah. Right.
I know.
Are you? No. Hey, I'm here. Are you guys watching this game?
Yes, here we go. Is that the reason my name isn't on this thing? Yes. I'm sorry, but we're gonna have to kick you out because we had so many technical issues and it's probably your fault. That's fair. That makes sense. Yeah. Okay, but before I go, can I have that 2000 job? What the heck? If you can take a photo of it and get your own $2,000. I would find that a question.
What is your
That one looked there. I sure the microphone is just like not big enough. It's waiting on one driver. It's
Oh, no,
not
no,
the
no.
other previous one.
Oh, the audio is just like you can hear noises. So it's like wah, 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 wah.
Here. I'm just skip it. You already have one. Yeah. Yeah. You can close that now. And then the settings.
Your mic.
Yeah, and I think they did a better job. Oh, yeah. The first time, they was very much like, it's just.
Oh yeah, there's a pretty serious way on it. Okay, I think it's fine.
Really?
Yeah, I think we're good to go. Okay.
Hi, hello. We could get everyone's attention. Pioneer Weekend 4.0, our fourth iteration of Pioneer Weekend. And I just wanted to say thank you to all the participants who worked really hard in the last 3 days since Friday, as well as thank you to the Wilson Center for Innovation and Leadership for powering this event. Our very own Monty Roper, the director, as well as Robert Ludwig, as well as judges for today. So we have Gina Kiraruzi, if you could just wave your hand. Kay Anderson, David Kaminsky, and Sanjay Khanna. So a little bit about the logistics for today. We're going to be, well, each team is going to go up for 10 minutes, and it's going to be 7 minutes of presentation and 3 minutes of question periods. So how it's going to work is Drew over here, one of our organizers, has a 1 minute left poster and a time's up poster. And what we're going to do is at 6 minutes before, so 1 minute before your presentation ends, he's going to put up the 1 minute left poster, and at 7 minutes, he's going to say time's up. And so it's okay if you go a little bit over 7 minutes, but we really should get on to questioning by that time. And then at 9 minutes, so 1 minute left into your questioning period, Drew will also put up the 1 minute left sign period again. And then at 10 minutes, you're going to be cut off. So you better be done. And so I think that's about it. In terms of logistics, we're going to have probably around 3 or 4 teams go before lunch. We'll have lunch. And then after that, we'll have the rest of the teams go. And then finally, we'll have sort of a brief debrief session before the final award session. So if there are no further questions, we might as well get on with it. So without further ado, great, or is it great? Great. Great. Come on up.
Hi guys, we're Greet. I'm Jamin.
I'm Henry.
I'm Pete. How many times have you walked into the D hall and ended up just getting a hamburger or a salad, something boring? It's not because that's what you wanted, it's because that was the only option there for you. Nothing else really sounded good. This happens just all the time, and we wondered why. So we realized there were a few problems with the D hall. There's a disconnect between the students and the dining hall. Students don't really have a way to give feedback on the food to the dining hall. And the dining hall doesn't really know which food students actually like. So because of this, the retention of students' meal plans drops. So students have the option to drop their meal plans every semester. And we found through surveys that students progressively drop their meal plans more and more often as they get older. We wondered why this happened. So we realized that students are getting frustrated because they don't have the option to really give feedback to the dining hall.
The crazy thing here is like dining halls have a lot going for them. We've interviewed students. We also found out that there's a couple things that go into why they use dining halls. First off, it's convenient. You don't have to clean it. You don't have to cook. The food's just there. But it's also a community hub. You can hang there with your friends and stuff. So when it goes into determining are you getting enough bang for your buck with your meal, the only thing that's really lacking now is taste. And that's what we want to fix.
So we created an app for that. Our idea was a program that will allow students, it's a combination of the old app, Glicious, which allowed students to access the dining hall menu on their smartphones on the day of. However, we've added some market improvements to that, as well as a whole new aspect. So it allows students there's a daily question that will say, what do you like or what do you don't like about a certain food of that day? So this will allow the dining hall to collect student feedback, these subjective comments on the food, and create small, relatively cheap changes to their food.
Yeah, so when we're speaking to students, we really focused on this community aspect. What about their experience allowed them to really make this decision to stay within one meal plan or another, drop down, save money, or eat elsewhere? And so we uncovered that like their taste preferences, their satisfaction, and the way they see their place in the dining hall as an active participant will allow them to stay in the system for longer, help the hall become a better community hub for more students for the entire course of 4 years, and increase their revenue as a benefit. Students and asking them third, fourth years and sophomores, sort of what would make them stay in the program for longer, we uncovered that nearly 30% of these people with these added changes, with this benefit in a dynamic system in the dining hall, rather than the static, I go there and I leave, would actually lead to more people staying in the program for longer. So actually, we crunched some numbers and we determined that if we were able to really do this and get the exact penetration that we were talking about with that 30% and really uncover 80% or 88% or so students really on this app, we can increase revenues per year essentially by $71,000 just in, if you think of it as like a loss, like how many students would have changed to lower meal plan values, but they don't because of this app. That's increasing $71,000 of revenue.
So with any good idea, we want to go out and test it. So yesterday we surveyed students at lunch and did it. We made a quick MVP and just something that's really easy to put together. We put out Google Forms. We selected specific menu items like the egg and prosciutto pizza, as well as scrambled eggs to test and see what students actually thought. And here's what we found. We found some crazy things. So over 170 students stopped by after D Hall. We kind of trapped them near the exit. But anyway, they were more than happy to respond. A lot of people saw our Facebook post and came to us and say, we wanted this. I'm more than happy to give feedback about D Hall because there's such a big disconnect there. And here are key insights that we found in the majority of our students. They had watery scrambled eggs, and that was a huge gross point for them. They really didn't like that. And the second thing was on the prosciutto and egg pizza, they didn't like the egg because it was too runny and it was almost raw. And the third thing was they thought the pita bread was very dry. These are 3 separate menu items we got to test, and there are many other insights as well, but these are the most common and easy ones to fix. So after we crunched numbers after lunch, we went to the D Hall and asked them, can you implement these changes? What can we do about this? They said, well, for the watery scrambled eggs, we can just drain them before we cook them. And secondly, with the uncooked eggs, they could remove the eggs or just have them on the side for people who really wanted that egg. The third thing was they could have containers for pita bread so it wouldn't go dry as fast. So these changes were all doable, but these are very simple changes and very easy to implement. implemented because the students weren't able to talk to the D Hall and vice versa. The D Hall wants to change, and students want to change as well. So this is the next iteration we're hoping for. Based on the data that we received, we want to have, and as Pete was talking about earlier, we have that daily question. And this is supposed to be extremely easy to use. And it's a combination of a menu and a feedback system. So if you're sitting at a table with your friends and you're like, whoa, this chicken parm is really gross, you can rate that on the spot with your app. And something we considered is iPhone real estate or just phone real estate. Would people actually download this app? And we found out that most used app on campus last year was Glicious, which was the menu app from last year. So we are pretty sure that this would be very popular among students.
Yeah, so actually we went to the market and tried to see what other ideas like ours were being used elsewhere, because as you'd expect, it's an intuitive idea. Real-time data for the people actually able to implement change is a fantastic thing. We actually saw that places like Yale were including a dining app that only had very bland sort of recommendations. They had the menu, but also like rate the food out of 10, just the food, no individual breakdowns. We saw an opportunity for us to slide in and create more specified arguments.
So the next thing we wanted to estimate was our market size. Who can we actually serve? So our entire market size, we focused on four-year universities because they're the ones that have dining plans and would want to change. And with that, we found there were 13.4 million students enrolled in the United States in four-year universities, and that's domestically. And the next thing that we can actually focus on, that we can actually service, and it's more relatable for us, is what we found out through, our like who else is doing this, is that a lot of big universities like Harvard, Yale, Penn, they have individualized apps for their school because they can afford it and they have the resources to do it. A lot of liberal arts colleges don't have this yet. Actually, we can't find a single one that did. So we're hoping to serve that specific market, and there are 240,000 students enrolled there. And the first school we want to start with is right here at home for now.
When we were looking at scaling up, we realized, like Jamin was saying, that our niche market is our most profitable factor. The ability to personalize our design to each individual college, like these five, is by far our best attribute of our concept. We were inspired by Blackboard, which is the company that runs Grinnell's academic software, because it's one general concept. However, it's individualized and personalized to every single college. A new name, different features. That's our goal. So through all these colleges, they have the same general trend. Small D halls, relatively small student bodies, and the ability to bring in a concept like this.
Most importantly, we've got friends at all these colleges. So they can help out with the transition, make it a lot easier for us. And the one thing we don't want to discount is this started from us because we're students. We feel the pain point. We know what it's like to be a student. And our friends there can really help us out with the culture there, as well as understanding how to implement it effectively.
So yeah, actually, the way we actually will generate revenue is by charging a percentage, essentially per student, which is derived by understanding exactly how much per student these guys will make per year. So we estimate about $42 per student in savings, which we would take about $6.18 of to reach our revenue goals. And we can go through that math in the appendix with the model.
Yep. And the crazy thing is, with projections we're looking at, we can save $42 per, we can increase revenue by $42 per student. So our competitive landscape, so these are our competitors. These are the three apps that are out there that are used by schools right now. And they're all individualized. They're all like just for that school. It's called Yale Dining. This Monge app is just for Penn State. And that one up there is for Harvard. So that's what we're finding is like they have no desire to just like expand. It's individualized for that school. It's a very local problem they want to fix. But we know that this problem is one that many schools experience. So we want to do it on a multi-school and larger scale, because especially the ones like schools like Grinnell, where liberal arts colleges are similar, we believe we can implement that very effectively. There are advantages. Well, we're definitely not the first mover in just its concept, but we know we are in just a larger scale. It's looking at the bigger picture and wanting to expand past one school and using what we learned at Grinnell to apply to other similar likewise schools. The second is linked into test schools. I can't even say this enough. It's just being able to communicate with your users is huge and understand what your users are feeling and experiencing their frustrations on a ground level. We're able to do that through interviews with their friends at these colleges, and also we're students. And that's the third thing, is a clear understanding of students. We're students who are very passionate about this idea, because it's not just a distant problem we chose. We chose this because we feel it here firsthand. And the last thing is We're passionate. We're extremely passionate about this idea because of this problem. And a potential partner we were thinking about was that we found.
Yeah, we're gonna have to cut you off there. That was
Okay, yeah, this is a potential partner that does catering. The next slide was just our team. That's us. And, thank you.
No questions.
What?
Oh.
All right, so that was 10 minutes, right? Okay. All right, thank you. Up next, well, first off, we'd like to let you guys know that there are microphones available. So if that's something that the audience would like or you feel like you would like to use, they are here for you. Up next, B data.
When you told them, what's the, what are the sound? They should be able to see that. What about that?
Should we just start? Hi, everyone. Thank you for coming. My name is Aditi Munshi.
My name is Ming Chan.
I'm Jun Tech Lee.
And we are B Data. Our mission is to connect nonprofits to a network of data scientists. So we are all math, computer science students, and we are very interested in using our skill set to help humanitarian efforts and nonprofits. So we found that in the market, there is a large need for nonprofits to have data science capabilities. However, data scientists are pretty expensive, and so that's where we come into the picture by connecting nonprofits with data scientists through a competition platform.
So the way this works is, again, we're a competition platform. So nonprofit NPOs have different projects that they need to accomplish, but they don't have the resources to accomplish them. And so what they can do is they can make this a competition and submit it to our website, to our platform. And so we will have a listing of all these competitions that nonprofits have. And data scientists who are the users, they can come in and join our platform. They can join our platform, and then they can sign up to work on these competitions and submit their analysis and results. And so essentially, once they submit it before the deadline, the project manager can then review all of the different submissions, and they can determine what is the most beneficial to their nonprofit. After that, they essentially, so before talking about that, the nonprofits also have prizes for these competitions. And so once the project managers of the NPOs have determined who did the best job, they can award the prizes to the data science team. And so how do we know this works? Well, for one, there are lots of articles and there are lots of sources saying that nonprofits have a huge demand for technical experts, but they don't have the resources to hire these people. And so these are a few examples of nonprofits that really need help. And there are lots of companies that are partnering with nonprofits nowadays so that they get this technical expertise. And a proof of concept is that there are also organizations like DataKind and Code for America, and these are organizations that NPOs can apply for to put their projects there, and data scientists can apply to work on these projects. And so together they collaborate, so people can donate their time to projects. And also on the data scientist side, there's a website called Kaggle, and it is a competition platform as well. And we see that on their platform, they have over 3,500 competition submissions per day. And this was in 2016, so it's growing more and more. There are lots of data scientists who are just looking for projects. And so this benefits both nonprofits and data scientists. On the nonprofit side, data scientists, the two options they have for data analytics are to hire a data scientist or data analyst, or to hire a contractor. On the data scientist side, the average salary of a data scientist is over 110K per year. That's a lot of money. And so it's hard to hire a full-time data scientist. So the alternative would be a contractor, but that's also a slow process and it takes a lot of time and resources. And so what we can do is by providing this platform, they can just submit these projects and they can have short-term resource allocation. And so on the data scientist side, what they gain out of this is, for one, the data science field is very competitive. Like I said, the average salary is very high, so a lot of people are trying to get into this field. And so what this does is it helps them build experience, so they can put that in their resume, and they can just build their experience and just learn how to become a better data scientist. Also, if they already have a job and they still want to be involved in the humanitarian community, they can share their expertise, share their time, be more philanthropic to be helpful in the humanitarian community.
So I will briefly go over our revenue model and costs. So for every challenge that is put on our platform, we will have 3 sources of revenue from them. So one is going to be the percent of the prize money that they offer for the challenge to be completed. And we will also get some money from the difficulty level. Based on the difficulty level, we'll probably have like easy, intermediate, and difficult. And then we will also have a cut based on the data restriction for the project itself. And then for the costs, there are 2 major, this is a projection for the first year. There are 2 major costs. So one is for the website development, so we can actually start providing our services, outreach to local nonprofits to start getting the word out and to start having projects on our platform.
After conducting marketing research, we identify our main barrier to entry in this market is Kaggle, which, as JT mentioned before, it is a platform that offers competitions just similar to what we do. However, Kaggle works mainly with cooperations. And so we believe that our unique selling point is that we empower nonprofit organizations with data scientist resources and build a reputation of humanitarian work. Here's our timeline of the business. So essentially, we want to start locally and build a strong business foundation, then be able to scale our business rapidly. Of our business, we want to reach out to local nonprofit organizations in Grinnell and target students as our main users. Then we'll expand to mid-sized university cities while still testing and refining our services. Then once we are confident with our business, we'll expand nationwide.
So to summarize a little bit, we all know that technology is advancing very quickly, and all these companies, they're growing rapidly and they're using all these resources, but a lot of nonprofits are not catching up to the same technological advancements. And so what we want to do is we really want to empower these nonprofits so that they can take advantage of these same resources and grow just like the other companies out there. And yeah, we're B-Data because we're thinking of the nonprofits as the colonies and data scientists as the honey, and we're the bees who really transport the resources back and forth so that everyone can take advantage of all the resources out there.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions?
Um, nonprofits do this. They don't have any, why should they trust you at the beginning?
So we've done some market research, and we were actually talking to an alum who worked with lots of nonprofits. Her name is Cheng, last name?
Chang Wei.
Cheng Win, and she worked with a lot of them, and all of them, she mentioned that all of them have data, and they need it analyzed to work more efficiently, but they just don't have the resources to do that. And so, the ComSci department has a class 321 and 322 that has software development help for nonprofits, but we don't have anything where data scientists can help them as well. And they're different fields. A lot of people think the intersection is really big, but they are separate fields, and there's different expertise. And so there's clear demand for these resources.
Just to add on to that quickly, so we are planning on implementing a 3-tier system for our users, and that will also, I don't think we have time to go into it completely, but this will be like security checks as the data becomes more and more private.
Yeah. I'm a little bit confused. Are these student data scientists or these established data science companies?
You're talking about the users, right? The people who participate in the competitions.
Yeah.
So in our strategy is to, when we first build the business, to target students as our main users, because data scientist students are always eager to learn and apply their skill sets, and especially to a good cause. However, when we expand our business to later on bigger cities and urban areas and to nationwide, we'll have a wider audience, users.
So a lot of companies nowadays still, they partner, like I mentioned, a lot of companies partner with these nonprofits, and so this could just be a platform where companies can go, so they have easy access to a listing of all the different projects. And so in the future, once we do go nationwide, these companies can, if they have employees who want to work on nonprofit projects, they can just go onto this website and find a listing that's appropriate. And so it's a way for any data scientist, regardless of whether they're freelance, whether they're students, whether they're in companies but want to help humanitarian nonprofits, it's just a way for all of them to contribute.
So is there a reason to do the additive part rather than just matching?
Actually, we're out of time, so.
Okay, looks like up next we have Roots Nutritional Bar.
You're just one.
If that's not working, I have another.
I've always known. Hi.
Hello?
Oh, I didn't hear it.
Oh, okay.
How we can get onto this computer? Oh, it's good. Oh, just keep it on computer?
Is there a session? Yeah. Yeah. Is there? Do they know the WWE classes here, you know? Seems close. There's a similarity. Oh. Yeah, okay. Just start the clock. Your time stops.
You have to.
Okay.
Mic?
Is there another
Was
one?
there not a second mic?
Can you just use either share or use the Toby mic?
Can I start?
Yeah, whenever you're ready.
Hi, I'm Julia, and this is Alden, and we want to create roots. So roots are pretty much vegetable-based nutritional bars. So you can think of it kind of like a Cliff Bar, but instead of having your flavors like peanut butter flavored or chocolate, they would be vegetables, like sweet potato or beets. And so we know that there are a lot of like nutritional bars on the market, but as you can see, they're all very unhealthy. So all of them have at least like 10 grams of sugar, if not 20, and that's almost as much as eating like one piece of cake or a cookie. And then if you're looking at the calorie counts, they're all almost at 200, if not even above 200. And if you take a person like me, I'm supposed to eat 1,500 calories. So if I'm eating one nutritional bar, I'm left with 1,300 calories a day. And that's not a lot, given that I have to also eat 3 other meals. And so we did some market research to see if maybe something healthier, maybe people wanted something healthier.
And yeah, so I basically asked a few friends, what do they think about energy bars, their snacking habits, etc. And much to my surprise, a lot of people on campus are actually aware of the fact that bars in the market are not healthy. But they also said that, it's often easy to ignore the fact that they're not healthy because they're so convenient, they're so, you take them on the go, on the way to class. And they express their wish in having a product that is both healthy and convenient. And so this is where we decided to further delve into our research and look at the statistics and the numbers. And according to Nielsen Holdings, a private data research company based in the UK, they've identified that people in North America are looking for this fusion of a convenient snack on the go that can quench hunger in between meals, as well as placing a lot of emphasis. They also care a lot about the nutritional value in these snacks. As you can see, having a snack that's low in fat, low in sugar, and low in calories were really important for these people.
And so this is our product. We want to make one that's entirely based with vegetables, that's pretty much around 100 calories, if not lower, with sugar. And so this is gonna be our first flavor. And we were thinking about doing a cinnamon ginger sweet potato nutritional bar. So what's great about sweet potato is that you get like a lot of carbs, and then you also get hunger, which is great for satisfying that. Well, you get a lot of fiber, so you satisfy your hunger. But then we'd also add some ginger and cinnamon, which would add a lot of flavor without compromising our goal of having like zero sugar, and well, essentially they would add a lot of flavor without adding sugar. Yes. Right. Oh, sorry about that. And so we would create these bars by dry freezing them. So we would start by creating essentially a sweet potato, cinnamon, ginger, like mashed potato puree. Put that on a platter, then put it in this like dry freezing machine. And then we would get these bars, like a real physical bars. And so what's great about dry freezing, like I just mentioned, we create these bars, but also dry freezing will allow us to make these bars non-perishable. So these can last for up to 25 years. And also we're not compromising any of our like nutritional goals, in that we would still keep the same amount of vitamin A, fibers as the fresh products.
So a lot of you, again, like might be asking, what's there to stop other companies from copying our idea? There's so many big companies out there with an insane amount of revenue, and they can just pull their money into R&D. Well, I think first thing that people should understand is that our development process in making this product is fundamentally different. Every other company out there uses sugar or another form of natural preservative to make their food non-perishable. We're using dry freeze technology, and we're the first to have ever done this in our market. We'd also have first mover advantage, and going back to that, the issue of cost for other companies, like it's not as easy for these companies to just be like, oh, why don't I just switch to dry freezing? That would mean changing their entire development process, their factories. That means building new factories. That means making new contracts and hiring a whole, entirely different office that specializes in dry freeze technology. We also understand that, but that is also a possibility of other companies eventually shifting and riding this wave of healthy energy bars. And we understand that marketing is going to be extremely key for our business. So we decided to keep it simple and focus on social media by creating, and through this, we want to create an online community.
And with this online community, it would be beyond just positioning the bar, but truly giving people tips on how to be healthier, for example, how to have a great run, or how many gallons of water you should also be drinking. And we would also want to have like transparent packaging, which again would be kind of unique compared to all of the other bars on the market, but it also goes to our brand that we want to be transparent about what we're doing, and that we want to give people a healthy option. And then in the future, I think we would want to have like stickers and t-shirts, because those are essentially like walking advertisements. Sticker on a water bottle, everybody's going to see that, our logo.
So I don't want to spend too much time on this, but something I want to emphasize is how scalable we are. Now, initially, our costs are going to be high, because to get that dry freezing machine, it would cost $2,000, and the company that provides this has a patent on it. But if we can sell, keeping the bar low, we can sell 10 bars a day in Grinnell. We would be making, our margins would be $597 a month. We would be breaking even in around 2 to 3 months. So I think as far as finances go, we're in a very great position to start immediately. And we'd also like to emphasize on distribution and scaling. We definitely keep it local at first, and then we look to expanding into the wider markets through Amazon and Whole Foods. There are references, and thank you.
Thank you.
How much is a bar?
How much is
So we're pricing it at $199 a bar, very competitive price standpoint, very high margins too.
So the machine just costs $2,000, and like how much can it actually do?
So it can produce 7 to 10 pounds per batch. It'll take 24 hours to dry freeze this process, but we'll make in bulk. 7 to 10 pounds, that's talking 60 bars and over, depending on the size of each bar. But yeah, one machine can do a lot.
And I guess I missed the part, so there's a patent on it, so like.
Yeah, so I was trying to emphasize that we need this machine because there's only one company out there that produces this machine, and they have a patent on the machine. So that's where I'm trying to draw the link between why our costs are so high in the short run, but also how scalable our business is.
But dry freezing isn't patented, it's just the particular machine, right? So you'd be able to dry freeze this product.
Yeah,
right?
so you bring up a good point, and this is something we were considering, whether to just get a box, an insulated box and put dry ice in it, and that was initially my plan, but upon consulting with fellow mentors and alums, we've been advised to invest in this as early as possible because of the potential economies of scale.
What's the regulatory environment for doing this at home or doing as a business in terms of dry freezing?
So in terms of dry freezing or in terms of putting it out on the market?
In terms of dry freezing as being a food product.
It is a food product. Like for example, the cereals that you buy and the fruity cereals you buy, those are dry freeze. Like the actual like strawberries and raspberries, those are actually dry freeze. So it is legal. The way we would do that, we would start by renting out a kitchen, which would kind of go through all of the FDA and legal reasons through which we could produce our product.
Have you included that in your costs?
Yes.
Yes, we included that in our cost. I didn't have time to break down the entire cost, but we have taken into account the $2,000 to buy the machine, as well as, like how much it costs to rent a FDA-approved kitchen.
Who makes the machine, and have you already been?
We're actually.
Harvest first thing.
No, that's all right. You can't answer the question.
So next up we have egg pie breakfast.
Hey, my name is Tron.
Yes.
And we are class 2021. Today we want to introduce our business plan, which is called A Healthy Start.
First, try to identify the problem. I find that there are fewer students in the dining hall during the breakfast time than any other time. So I tried to ask my friend, why don't you go to the breakfast? And I identified three main problems. The reason behind that is they think they don't want to get up early to get breakfast. And a lot of like junior seniors, they think the breakfast is too expensive, and there are also limited options.
So why do we care about this problem? So I can never stress enough the importance of breakfast, and I feel like a lot of people are neglecting it, and by not having breakfast, you cannot have a great start for your day. Like students, You cannot like focus on your classes and like do your work throughout the day without breakfast. And some people end up having a very big lunch and very big like dinner, which is like very unhealthy. And you also have like unhealthy snack as well. So our way to go around this problem is we cater a service that we deliver breakfast to your room. So imagine sitting in the comfort of your dorm room and then have breakfast delivered to you. You don't have to wake up early. You don't have to walk for like 3-5 minutes, probably under the snow of Grinnell, to the dining hall to eat breakfast. And the great things about our service is that it's very nutritious, very well balanced, and also it will have like calorie counts so that you can keep track of your diet as well.
Then we've done some market research. We find that a large portion of the people, they want their breakfast to be delivered to their room. And they usually don't have breakfast in the D hall. And I think that will be an advantage if we can take. We can target those 53 points of the students, try to deliver their breakfast to their dorms, and they will have more time for their classes, and they will have a great start in course.
I also observed some reactions of the people who take our survey, and some of them are so happy to hear about our service. And some of them like react like, wow, why don't you do this earlier? Like this should totally be in Grinnell. Because you know what? Having breakfast in your room is like the greatest feelings ever. You don't have to walk out in the cold. And also a lot of people care a lot about their health. But most of them are too lazy to plan out a very healthy breakfast, especially breakfast. With that in mind, we provide for them.
And then we identify a important parameter that if we want to provide food for students, we need to consider the problem of hygiene. We want to make sure that food is clean, and we want to make sure that every student, they are happy to take our food and they will not concern about it. And then we started to, we will try to cooperate with those professional food production agencies. We can cooperate with D Hall or a restaurant downtown like Frontier Coffee, so that we can make sure that food is clean, and we want to make sure that hundreds, it is clean for them to, if they are happy and satisfied to consume their things.
So how possible is our business plan? I would say it would be very possible actually, because it would not take a lot of work to carry out. So this is one of our sample breakfasts. So we calculate to cater for a number of 100 people. We estimate the cost by like calculate the ingredients and delivery and service costs. So that will amount like approximately like $250. And we estimate the price we would charge is around like $5. So we would make a profit like approximately $250. And I feel like this is very possible because it would not take a lot of work to do. We can totally prepare breakfast in box. And in the long run, we can provide people with reusable box, which will not like cause very harm to the environment, and also will drive down our costs as well.
We've also thought about a new idea about the delivery. We can ask the person who living in that dorm to pick up the food and deliver back to some other fellow student in that dorm. This will lower the cost, and we don't need to pay the minimum wage for those students. Because for those students, they are taking part-time jobs, they can only work for 20 minutes in the morning and just walk to D Hall and pick up the food, and they can earn, for example, 70 cents or 50 cents per delivery. So it's a good, there's a good motivation for those students to actually engage in this business, and will make sure the whole business runs smoothly. We're not only going to have 13 people. A lot of people, they can come in and leave the market. And we also thought about a monthly plan or weekly plan, so that we can get a lot of money in advance. Like if the people, they want to purchase the monthly plan, they can exit this market anytime they want. We will give the money back to them. Like after half a month, they don't want to eat this, we can give them back the money. The benefit of this monthly plan is that we can get a bunch of money at the very first time, and we can work on to research and development and provide better service for students.
To add on that, I also want to make clear that by having like weekly plan, we can like plan the meal ahead and like have a better like meal plan balance for your breakfast.
One research or improvement we can do is that we can make heat trap boxes in a winter, so that students they can enjoy fresh meals in the morning.
So about marketing, I feel like we can actually use social media to like market our product, and we can do like a weekly or like a monthly survey for customers, like give some feedback about how's the food or how do you want to add on your breakfast, something like that, so that we can improve our menu. So I think our business model have like a very big potential in like spending. Because so my experience in Boston is that people care very much about their health, but then like sometimes they just like don't have the time to like they don't have the time to like plan them so that we can provide that for them. And I think that would be like a huge demand, and like that calories count.
I'm confused. Are you cooking the food? Is it coming from the meal plan?
So usually, so for now, the food that we are providing pre-packaged food, so we don't really have to cook the food. There would also be some food that we have to cook, it's like egg or some of bacon, but that is easy to make, so we can actually cook the food ourselves.
How do you plan on dealing with health regulations? Because there are all sorts of regulations about food. So
yeah, so we try to get our own ingredients and work with an agency like the Hall or Frontier Cafe in downtown, so we can get, or we can actually get a license later on. But first, we need to cooperate with some other agencies to make sure that the hygiene is.
How would you? So why do they need you to do that? Can they do that on their own?
We provide an idea because we want to rent their place, get their service, and we will give them the revenue. So we want to provide a better service for all students and the dining hall.
So I think also one thing that we differ from them is that our breakfast is well planned and nutrition balanced. So that is one thing that they cannot provide by themselves, because like Frontier Cafe and the dining hall don't have like nutrition plans and something like that. So they need us so that we can have that plan.
Could you put your costs back up for just a sec? It looks like you don't include the cost of people cooking the food.
I included in the service cost.
So you have.
So I estimate we need approximately 5 people to do like delivery and cooking.
So I also don't understand your bra. Okay, we're out of time.
Thanks.
So we're going to take a couple minutes to get set up for lunch, and then we will have lunch. And I think we'll resume pitches at around 1:45.
You're like every I can't do that.
how we actually like streaming this. Yeah.
Are we ready to start? So you guys have fun that part.
Like, are we actually ready to start?
Yeah, whenever you're ready.
Okay.
Judges, ready. You ready to start diving? Okay, we're Disruption, and our company is based on the idea that making apps should be easy. I am Yash Gupta. I have worked as a front-end web developer as well as a native iOS and Android developer, and I enjoy long walks.
I'm Pavaka from .com. I am an Android developer, and I spent last summer writing code in the basement.
And I'm Nicole, and I'm just this random person on the team.
Our problem that we're trying to solve is that creating apps for multiple platforms is really difficult. And part of the thing that makes it difficult is that you have to maintain multiple code bases. One for iOS, one for Android, one for Windows, one for Mac, and one for web. And because of the high, because it's difficult to get started in developing, it's really exclusively for developers. And the last thing is that when you're trying to take it to multiple platforms, you're spending time you could be spending on continuing your core innovation. In fact, 37% of people we interviewed at Grinnell said the one reason they hadn't made an app is because it was too hard to get into. Our solution is a drag and drop editor that is web-based, that once you hit publish on the web system, it sends it back to our backend, which creates native Android, iOS, Windows, Mac, and web versions of your platform. How do we do this? We use a what you see is what you get implementation that uses drag and drop to simply add in components you want and remove components you don't. The second part is a HTML5 app to a native app. HTML5 is a relatively new technology that allows you to access all the features you would expect from a native app. What Apache Cordova and Electron both do, they're both open source applications. What they let you do is convert your HTML5 application into rich native apps that have access to things like push notifications. Our minimum viable product for stage one is we want to introduce certain components. Components you're going to need, like text boxes, titles, pictures, and video. Our stage two is to expand the implementation so that creators can get better information, like tracking or understanding what things are breaking.
So as we said, one of the main reasons why people don't do this is because it takes a lot of technical know-how to get into it. But another reason is the very high cost. As you can see, to create basically just a web application, a desktop application, a mobile application, you're looking at about at least $500 per hour for every developer that you're hiring. And that's just kind of ridiculous. But with us, you could have we have two different payment options. There's a monthly pay-as-you-need service, and then there's a yearly developer license that you can also purchase. So for small and medium businesses or entrepreneurs and startups, we're gonna be using Amazon Web Services to provide our service. And that's good for two reasons. One, Amazon really stresses having a reliable and efficient service. So we know that our service will be up a lot of the time. Also, we can charge based on what our users use. So if you're a small business and for 1 month you have about 1 million visitors using all of your data, you're gonna pay us a lot more. But if in the next month you only have about 5,000 people, you're gonna pay us a lot less. And that's just gonna be great for you because you pay as much as you need. Now for large corporations, we're gonna be offering 500 developer license for $500 per developer per year. Now this is good because it allows you to develop for all of these different platforms with one fee. And you might think that that fee is high, but it really isn't, because for a Visual Studio Developer License, which is what Microsoft uses to develop Windows apps, It costs $539 per developer per year to use that. And this, you get about 4 more platforms, but for a cheaper price. So it's a really good deal for you. Now, we looked at our potential competition and we found out there's no real competition for us. Now, there's competition in the drag and drop to create a website space using like with Squarespace and GoDaddy. And there's competition in the space where you're trying to create an HTML5 app into an Android application with Andromo. And the same goes for Web to iOS with AppyPie. But there's no single service that does that goes from drag and drop to all these different platforms. So our service is going to be unique in that space. Now, thinking about funding, how are we going to get set up? Now that $30,000 is a quote from the US Small Business Administration website, which is the estimated cost of starting a startup. Now this fee is going to be, we're going to be trying to raise this fee from angel investors, venture capitalists, and crowdfunding. Now we know that this is a viable idea, which could get backing because we've spoken to some tech people and they have expressed great interest in investing in this idea. So we know that we have a market for this. Now, we also know that our market is going to grow. As you can see here, it's projected that in 2020, the mobile app revenue is going to hit $74.5 billion. This means that there's going to be a lot more apps out there. And with our service being used, it's going to mean that we're going to have a lot more users. Also, there's going to be approximately 10 billion more devices in use, which means that there's just a lot more space for people to be developing apps, which is just going to be great for us. Now, these are some projections that we made. This is an average growth case where we start up, we take the $30,000 hit to start. Every month after that, we get one new medium-sized company. And as you can see, after about 6 months, we break even, and after that, our profit just continues to grow. This is another case where we have an even slower growth rate, where we're only adding one new business every other month. But even with that, you can see that in less than 2 years, we break even, and then our profits start to come in.
So we are really targeting at people who have great business ideas but don't have enough programming languages or couldn't afford to hire people who know enough programming languages. And this can be self-employed individuals, startups, and small to medium-sized businesses. And we will approach them using online platforms like Stack Overflows and others. We will also be providing a 24/7 customer service, which will be outsourced to a company called Influx, and we have already factored the monthly fee into our total cost. So we should be fine, and that's all.
Do you have questions for us?
I'll pick one of the ones you have here. What risk management has been built in your model?
So in actuality, the $30,000 that we want to take as a hit in the beginning is our risk management. Because of the way that Amazon Web Services does its pricing for small businesses and startups, the costs are almost negligible, less than $25 a month. So really the risk will be us putting in our time and hoping that it works. The $30,000 is also to handle things like incorporation, sort of legal fees that we might incur creating a terms of service or fighting liabilities and stuff.
I was intrigued to hear that you don't feel like there's that much competition.
There's certainly, oh, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say that I feel like there's a lot of people trying to do it, but just interested in the research that you guys have done.
Well, we agree. So Cordova has a Oracle proprietary solution called PhoneGap. In addition, Google has Firebase and a couple of other systems. And what we feel is our biggest advantage is that we're taking that WYSIWYG, that drag and drop editor, and creating usable, scalable components. And that's really where it becomes powerful, is because That way, people who have no kind of like coding experience can really get into the application development area.
And then the other question is, what's the size of a customer when you have that financial model? Like, I want to build an app, I use you guys, like, what are you guys basing?
So it's kind of hard to know what sort of, we know like who our potential customers are, and we talk to people who may use it. It's kind of hard to say, oh, this is exactly how many customers. We picked a relatively reasonable good case and bad case scenario, and that's based off of $2,000 a customer a month. And our idea is that whatever they use on Amazon Web Services, can I finish the answer? No? Nope. Okay.
So next up, we have Doorway. Yeah.
I think it's looking good. It's hard to hear on the live stream. Okay. Okay, do it, okay.
Any advice from the audience?
Are you having more technical issues?
Yeah.
Make sure your input's right on the top.
What?
Thank you. And sometimes, like, when it doesn't detect your input, it'll just shut off the thing, so it'll take like a long time.
I see. Okay. Thank you.
There we go.
Okay, this is not, this is, the input is plugged in here. As it should, that's what you said.
That's a good one.
Oh, I think he already, he should have used that. I'll try this. Oh, there we go. Fantastic, thank you. That's so
Thirty.
Yeah, that's
Checking your grades. So our strength is
Make sure that phones, That's the first time I've been, 22 years. I didn't do this, like, get.
Crazy, that big? I'll crank it up.
I just want
Hold on. As opposed to. Yeah, I think they use when I should read. Right. Please. Let's get it. I'm so hard. Yours is what last night, right? Yeah. Yeah. We can open it on somebody else's computer. Yeah. Right. It's possible.
Well, there's a cable in the back which is
dangling.
Use it. Just check.
That's looking important. That's the one. Is this the guy or no? I don't think we're. I know so little that I don't feel qualified to get involved. Sorry about this.
This is why I said no live demos.
Hey, this is not a live demo. This is just a PowerPoint.
But like,
No, bare bones.
It's a good point.
Yeah.
We have screenshots.
No, do not get that stuck in my head. I was, there's a their ages to and they kind of
Getting worse.
show you how long it's
There we go. Yes! Thank you so much, all. Yeah, appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. That's not ready.
We're Doorway. Doorway is a location-based canvassing app that empowers users to personalize their political activism and enables campaigns to intelligently interact with those users based on data that we collect on them.
Hi, my name is Emmett Sandberg. I'm a fourth year here at Grinnell. I have a background in political activism and campaign work, which is where I originally came up with the idea for Doorway. Because of that, I've been guiding our vision and potential implementation strategies.
Hi, I'm Henry Bolster. I'm a fourth year at Grinnell, and I have experience in market research, in research and communications. So I headed up our team's market research and our product differentiation analysis.
And I'm Gracie Wallach, a second year here at Grinnell, and I have experience combining technology and social change. So I worked on our product development, optimizing our user experience, and a little bit of marketing.
Great. So canvassing literally means walking around your neighborhood and knocking on doors. So in political campaigns, volunteers knock on the doors of potential voters and have conversations about candidates and issues. Door knocking is 5 times more effective than phone banking and 14 times more effective than distributing campaign literature. Canvassing is the foundation of political campaigns, and it's one of the main ways that volunteers get involved. Now, in 2012, I was one of 2.2 million volunteers in the Obama campaign. As someone whose job it has been in the past to turn people out for volunteering, supporters do want to get involved. I've seen this time and time again, where you'll talk to somebody about a political candidate that they know about or you're teaching them about, and their eyes light up and they get excited about being involved, and then they can't because the commitment is like 3 hours long, 4 hours long, and it involves walking 5 miles. Maybe they can't do any of those things. So imagine how many more volunteers we could get if this was just a quicker and easier process.
So as I was mentioning, the modern model, the current model that we have for campaigning is incredibly ineffective. So there's kind of 3 things that are wrong with it. It's inaccessible. So it requires volunteers to travel to a local campaign headquarters, clipboard full of lists of addresses, and then they spend 2 to 5 hours walking around a neighborhood, which could be miles from their own neighborhood, way outside of the community, so they're not familiar with it. Michigan. Campaigns have to devote quite a lot of resources to hiring staffers that do the work of manually inputting the data that volunteers acquire into their databases. Additionally, they have to hire, brick and mortar, they have to rent brick and mortar venues, and they have to buy lots of supplies, constantly refreshing their supplies. And lastly, it's ineffective. So campaigns end up knowing very little about their volunteer base. When you go to a campaign headquarters, you fill out some basic personal information, but there's a lot of other data that they could be getting, and as a result, they're not tapping into potential insights into this group. So Doorway is different. Doorway enables users to choose how much time they have available and canvass right within their own neighborhoods. Doorway also customizes talking points based on voter demographic data. And lastly, Doorway gathers data on users' interests and behaviors and makes it available to campaigns to intelligently recruit and mobilize support.
As you can see behind us, this all comes together in our process, which we implement through a downloadable app. Registration asks a few questions for our user when it's their first time using Doorway. We ask them to give a little bit of personal information so we can verify that they're real. From there, users select issues that they care about and causes in campaigns that they want to canvass for. Then they choose to whether or not that they want to turn on pop-up notifications, which is something that Doorway utilizes really well to keep reestablishing their engagement and relationship with our volunteers, reminding them to get out and canvass, which not only helps them interact with our app more, but also helps these campaigns know that they're constantly being reminded to engage and to be interacting. Once they're in the app, they let us know where they are and how much time they have. And we provide a list of constituents for them to go and talk to. And optimally, that's within a half-mile radius of the current location or the location that they type in. Once they're ready to hit the streets, they'll get that list of constituents, each of which they can click on once they get to the door with an information and personalized script. And I'll let Emmy explain to you.
Great. So one of the things that Doorway does that current canvassing scripts don't do is that it accounts for demographic data. So let's take Beth, for example. Beth is a 52-year-old mother of 2 in Iowa. So some of the issues that she's going to care about more are, for example, healthcare. Because she's a woman over the age of 40, she's statistically much more likely to care about healthcare. Because there are 2 children, 2 minors living in the house, she's much more likely to care about education. And because she's a woman, and according to our data, a registered Democrat, she's more likely to care about equal pay. So these talking points are going to be available for our users when they walk up to her door, and they'll be able to familiarize themselves with their candidate's stance on these different issues, so that they can better engage constituents. And then below you see some basic data entry. Do they answer the door, yes or no, and which way they're leaning. And then now it's a kind of a choice you make at the end of the conversation where you try to gauge they're leaning towards a candidate or away.
So over time, Doorway gathers information on users' interests and behaviors. And so some of those behaviors can include user engagement rates, effectiveness, and the types of issues that they're interested in. And this is important, it's incredibly important because we make this data available to campaign strategy teams and give them the opportunity to engage with those users directly and informed by the insights that we glean. Take Joe. So Joe's an active user, and I don't know if we can see that very clearly, but Joe's an active user whose interests align with a nearby candidate. He's being connected with a campaign directly. And so this reminder is just saying, hey, Joe, there's a candidate in your area that aligns with your interests. Want to get involved? You can click on that, enter the app, and start connecting with the campaign. So As Doorway grows, we'll expect more campaigns to be increasingly dependent on us for this type of data.
In the early stages, we plan on offering Doorway to a few local campaigns for free. But soon, campaigns will see the importance of the simplified user experience and more so the value of this data that we're collecting and giving back to them. That's what sets us apart. First, we have the first mover's advantage, and yes, people could copy our product, although it's quite tedious to do so, but they can't copy our database and the information that we're collecting.
Yeah. So we believe that public participation in issues and races that matter to us is the backbone of our democracy. Not only is Doorway a tool for improved canvassing, how do we change with the campaigns interact with and build relationships with volunteers and supporters?
Thank you so much, and we'd love to answer questions regarding scalability or even some of your concerns or weaknesses about our product. Thanks.
How will you be making money after the initial free stage?
Yeah, so ultimately, we're not so much a canvassing company, we're a data company. So one of the most important access to is volunteer data, but they can't collect that right now. It's not done on any campaigns that I know of or have worked on, or in any of the technologies that are currently used by the market. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be collecting information on the advocates themselves, activists themselves, what they're interested in, how good they individually are at canvassing and whatnot, and then connecting them with campaigns. We do that for a fee. But again, we'll only do it if we believe that they're a good match. We wouldn't match a person whose interests don't really align with a campaign.
So, trying to figure out, so like, I mean, the campaigns now, you're talking about, I mean, they've got like, it's close to $1 billion. They're not doing anything today to like understand volunteers. Am I hearing that correct?
That's a good question. Yeah, I think that they do record a bit about the behavior, and there's, you know, when you go canvassing, you come back in and you talk to the campaign headquarter volunteer there, and they'll get a little bit of response from you, like, hey, did you have success? What was it like? But there's nothing that seems like it unifies everything in one place and makes that data streamlined and available back. Often the focus is, there's a lot of focus and a lot of money dedicated to how do we target voters, what are voter behaviors, but in our research, it seems like less about what are volunteers' habits and interests. Sorry, you go ahead.
When you go to volunteer, right, you go and you get the clipboards, they're not collecting information on you. They're having you write down your name for accountability purposes, maybe your birthday and your email address. But they're really not gathering, you know, like where you live, how much time you're dedicating. I'm sure that they're looking at how often you're coming in, but they also can't see the issue areas. So, right, we can see that voters come, like one of our volunteers who are most passionate about gun control are also the ones who are most deciding to show up. So maybe then we target, like we go and recruit volunteers from gun control clubs or organizations and stuff like that. And so yes, they have information, but we're synthesizing it, and like they're not only getting information on the voters, but also the volunteers.
I also want to be clear, campaigns in a lot of respects are stuck in the dark ages. The way that we collect, the way that people canvass has not changed in like 50 years. What we do with the information after we get it, right? That's changed dramatically with algorithms that sort the data. You can do predictive modeling, but ultimately the way that we collect data and on the volunteers and on the voters is like it's on a piece of paper. Like you have a printed out map with your route on it. They're slow to adapt. I'm going to fill that gap.
All right, last up we have Hobby Connect. Is this someone's phone? Cool.
Hello, so my name is Agnes and I'm a first year here.
My name is Alex, also a first year. So today we're very excited to introduce you Hobby Connect. So Hobby Connect is an online rental application that we believe will revolutionize the rental industry. So we believe in a mission to connect renters and also lenders with similar interests and provide not only a secure but also a convenient platform for them to complete the transaction.
So the way this process would look like for someone who is looking to rent an item is first, imagine you're going on a weekend getaway with your family to Boulder, Colorado, and you decide that you want to go camping, but you don't have any camping equipment. So instead of having to buy all this camping gear, what you can do is download Hobby Connect, create an account using a verified phone number and a verified address, and then you may search for camping gear within the area of Boulder, Colorado, and then you can connect through the app with possible lenders who have this gear in their own homes that they're not using, and you can do the whole transaction online and then meet them in person and enjoy a day in the outdoors.
On the other side, for the lenders, let's say you live in Boulder, Colorado, and you go ski, and you have different set of ski sets, but you don't use it often. Why not make some extra money? Sign up to Hobby Connect. Just take out your phone, take a simple picture of your skis, and add up description and your pricing online, and then we'll connect you to potential renters to whether to rent it to them or not. And at the end of the transaction, we provide a two-way review system. So for the lenders, we can review the lenders, how well they treat their materials, equipment, and as for the renter, they can rate how well does the product fit the description and what's their experience like.
So we see from companies such as Airbnb and Enterprise Rent-A-Car that people are in fact willing to rent and borrow things. For example, Airbnb, you see people being willing to accept other people into their own homes or being willing to go to someone else's home. As far as who we're targeting.
Yeah, and to add up to that point, sharing economy is a rapidly growing industry. And based on Brooklyn Institute, in 2014, it grew from a 40 billion in industry and estimate by 2025 it will be a 335 billion industry. So our targeted customers or users for renters will be travelers, tourists who just want to try out a new hobby, they want to pay some expensive money on certain gadgets. And for lender will be hobbyists who participate in a specific hobby salon and have experience and a lot of equipment. So how are we going to reach these customers? For our renters, our users, we'll have Google AdWords. So if they're looking up a new set of ski boards, we provide them a more affordable, lower price option for them. And we also want to connect the renters and the lenders through social media such as Twitter, Facebook.
So our first step to create this would be getting started and getting it off the ground. So we have sort of a plan for the first 6 months, where our main goal is to attract, first of all, lenders, and then attracting people who would be willing to rent those items. So to do this, we're focusing on a specific area of Boulder, Colorado, as well as specific sort of equipment, so outdoor gear and sports equipment. And the reason we're focusing on Boulder, Colorado is because it contains a lot of what we believe to be our target demographic, such as college students, tourists, and people who are interested in spending time outdoors. For attracting lenders, we will be using incentive programs, and for attracting both lenders and renters, we'll be also using search engine optimization.
On the financial side, so at an earlier stage, our main revenue will be a 5% transaction fee, and we'll expect around 1,000 transactions for the first couple of months. And the main cost will be fixed costs to set up the website, and also some capital for marketing to attract initial users. So here's our 3 to 5 year business plan. First, we want to expand regionally. So not only within Boulder, Colorado, also other cities or states in our region. And next, want to develop the community. to have like annual events for to let the lender come together, but to become our loyal customers. And also at the same time, we'll do some market research. We will be renting stuff related to outdoor equipment and sports. Now, maybe we can create other hobbies such as photography or music production for people to interact.
So during this 3 to 5 year period, we're hoping to reach a threshold of 500 transactions per day. And since we're charging 5% per transaction, we expect that to increase our revenue to over $1 million per year. We will also be receiving revenue at this point from advertisements. So we will allow retailers to advertise if people are buying or renting skis. Retailers may want to advertise their own skis, or if they know that people have rented those skis before. And our costs will mainly be salary for the team and marketing.
So some of our other visions and goals. First off, one would go international or going across the United States, not only within Boulder, Colorado, in Miami and California, different locations where tourists and travelers can easily rent equipment that they need. And we also want to expand the variety of objects that we provide. Not only sport equipment, tent, and like surfboard. We may rent out on other hobbies such as photography or music production.
So we believe that doing all of this will also create another source of income for ourselves, which will be selling user habit data to retailers who may want to use that in order to target them for advertisement.
So please support Hobby Connect. It is a convenient, secure rental platform that connects users with similar interests. Thank you.
That was them. They say okay.
So any questions?
Can you talk to me about, like, did you do any research on insurance liability? So I own equipment, I lend to you, you break it, what happens?
Yeah.
Okay, so for liability, we are accepting the liability for if people say break something or they don't return an item. And we're able to do this because we're creating a system of technology that will prevent most of that from happening in the first place. So first of all, we'll have a two-way review system. So both users that are renting will be reviewed and the lenders themselves and their items. And in the registration stages, we'll be using verified phone numbers as well as a verified home address to prevent people from creating fake accounts or multiple accounts.
And we also look into similar industries such as eBay. So they implement a strategy where when you buy a product, they will have all your credit card information or like debit card information, and if you rent something and you break it, we'll charge it afterwards. Yes.
How are you going to deal with competition from, like, I know there are some online rental companies for, you had mentioned camera lenses, that there are some online rental companies for camera lenses, and then you're going to have local competition with stores. So how are you going to be different than those?
So I guess as far as it goes from like other online renting, they usually focus, it's a business, they're not like consumer trading with each other, and it takes time. It's more expensive and it also takes time for them to ship the item. Whereas here, they can immediately get to someone's house and receive the item. And in terms of how they are competition details.
And eventually we're going to build up our user data. So because of network effect, it will be harder for other companies to enter the market. So we have a lot of customers, for a lot of lenders, for example, with Boulder, Colorado. So it will be most effective and efficient for renters to use our app, since we provide a variety of options for them, and other companies will not be able to do that after.
And also by doing this, by renting from a local, you're able to interact with them. For example, if you're renting a snowboard, they might tell you about some local destinations and specific places where one might go. And
yeah.
It's not very touristy.
You were talking about validation because of like Airbnb. Did you talk to anybody that actually had like skis or anything? Like a famous for this.
Thank you.
Not the easy part, okay? Just go and run the
So those were some great pitches, guys. The judges are now going to head off into the back to do some deliberation. And then after that's over, we'll do a quick debrief and hand out some big checks. There's coffee and water and cookies out there. Feel free to help yourself.
Sage, I would suggest that people not wander off because it could be anywhere between, 10, 15 minutes between now and 3 o'clock if we're ready to go again, and we might as well just stick around. It's not that long.
Either stay in this room or out there.
If you're not here, we come back, we're gonna get your checks.
Yeah. So
We're good, we're good.
Yeah.
everybody is here.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's everyone.
Yeah?
We're good.
All right, welcome back, everybody. My name is Monty Roper. I'm the director of the Wilson Center for Innovation and Leadership, and thanks so much for the time and the effort that you all have put in this weekend in chatting with the judges. I'll say it was not an easy decision, and also that everyone was just super impressed, even those that didn't win, just super impressed with the presentations, like that you guys were able to put together such high quality presentations in basically, we know that it wasn't even a couple days. It's basically you put these things together sometime this morning or overnight, or you've been working on them, but nice job. I mean, it's really a statement on you all and the quality of your work. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna get some feedback and just kind of general comments from the judges. A little bit, just a brief debrief. If people have specific questions afterwards, and then we'll do the brief debrief, then I will announce the winners, starting with the third place and working towards the first place. And if people have specific questions about, hey, what did you think? And if some of the judges are still sticking around, you can accost them in whatever corner you can back them into. But we're not gonna do that in the debrief. We're not gonna say, for this group, we think you should have done this. For this group, it would have been better if you did this, because we just found last year you get stuck in the mud that way and it gets too detailed. But before we get going on the debrief, I wanted to introduce David Tominski from NewBoCo briefly to stand up and say a brief word about the organization and maybe anything that's upcoming. You're looking at me like you didn't expect that.
No,
Sure. Sure.
No, I'm so excited.
You're the only one clapping. You are now my favorite.
Yeah.
Voices do carry here, as I noticed, so congratulations to the folks that presented without a microphone and still had your voices heard. I appreciate just the opportunity being invited to come down and just spend a good part of the day with you guys is always exciting. Wanted to tell you a little bit about the organization that I work for. It's called NewBoCo. Stands for the New Bohemian Innovation Collaborative. It's a nonprofit. We focus on three main things: education, innovation, and entrepreneurship. So those are three things that I get really passionate about. This kind of stuff is seriously what I live for. And I'm being dead serious, like started doing startup weekends in Cedar Rapids back in 2014. And just, it's amazing watching people pitch brand new, fresh ideas one day, and then 2 days later, having a presentation that really seems like it could truly go somewhere. What I'm really interested in is what happens next. So in a little bit here, Monty's going to tell you who came in first, second, and third place. I want to let you know, seriously, for me, it's my least favorite part because that makes people feel like some people won, some people lost. The real winners are the ones that actually carry on and do something after this. So I want to offer up myself just as if anybody's interested in continuing to work on their idea, I'll make sure that you have my email address, my cell phone number. Want to have you guys reach out to me. And then the network that I've been lucky enough to build over the last 3-4 years, really interested in doing something with your ideas, then we're interested in helping you out. So I brought a card that I'm going to share with Monty. You guys can take one with you. We've got an event called Launch Day. It happens on December 7th, so less than a month from now, in downtown Cedar Rapids at the Paramount Theater. So similar to what you guys did, only I've been cracking the whip on teams for a year. Our organization invests a small amount of money for equity in companies. We brought 7 new companies into our portfolio this year. So on December 7th, all of those companies will have the opportunity to take the stage at Paramount Theater, which I think sits about maybe 1,500 people or so, so just to give you a sense of the size. And what they'll do is they'll share what they've been working on. And to me, again, like I said, most importantly, what happens next for them. So I don't know if there's really anything else that that I wanted to share. Like I said, I would love for nothing more than for everyone here and then any of your friends to make the trip to Cedar Rapids on December 7th to enjoy Launch Day with us. Good?
Yeah, thanks.
Now you're all my favorite.
Yeah. You want to just hand those around? All right, so now we're gonna do this pretty quickly because one of our judges has to go and really wants to see us give away the checks. So, but what I wanted to do is to give a brief moment to the different judges to kind of comment on the presentations as a whole, things they think students could work on for next year, or things that for them went particularly well, or just reminders of hey, these are the kinds of things that we would have liked to have seen. Without naming names, if this had been in some of the presentations, it would have been really useful, or just whatever they want to comment on. Why don't we start? We'll start from the end and work this way. So, Kate, did you have some comments you want to make?
Yeah, just some general things about.
Hello.
So my big thing is market research, so looking at iterating based on what users need. And the thing that I would say would most help with improving your products is to talk to some of the people who are going to use them. And when I say that, I mean all of the people in all of the aspects of it. So you have some people who are the people who are going to use the thing, and then some people are going to buy the thing, and then some of the people who are going to be required to interact with it in some way. Then you want to talk to someone in all of those different groups to make sure that it's going to meet their needs. So I think that was the thing that I thought would have added the most to your projects. And then in the future, if you keep going with this, I think it would make for, incredible products.
The thing that I'll start on a positive. I loved all of your presentations, the literal ones on the screen. They were very, very clear, colorful, drew me in, made me realize what you were saying, so that was awesome. One part that I noticed the most is whenever you did feasibility or business plan and you had numbers up there, I was doing math in my head, trying to make sure that it worked. And there were times it didn't, or there were times that wasn't there, and that made me question whether you had been careful enough in your numbers and knew what you were doing. So that part was definitely very difficult for us. Changed how I was viewing some of the teams, so being more careful about that part. And if you didn't have numbers there, we also factored that in. It might have counted against you. So in the future, make sure that you have something, but also that thing makes sense.
I think for me, I've listened to a lot of startup presentations, and I'm a big fan of actually getting out. So just to comment on the customer validation, just that research. I've gotten to the point where I actually hate surveys because they're just so static. So what you can actually get from getting outside of the building and talking to human beings, looking them in the eye, asking them really simple questions, and then just listening to what they say. So that, I also really love to hear how much the idea changed, and you can do that through talking about those interviews, those interactions of what was the idea when you pitched them on Friday, what did you learn on Saturday from talking to people, and then what are you actually presenting? And then the third thing that I would add is that it is always amazing to me in a short period of time when people can demonstrate, so if you're building software or a physical product, actually have some form of a prototype that you could show people. There are definitely a few instances where that would have been really helpful to see you take that step, like on Saturday night, kind of crank together just a really lo-fi MVP, something that you could put in front of us so we could see exactly what you're thinking about. So those may be the three main things that I would say.
I was rather concerned yesterday when I was speaking, mentoring you, and I was wondering whether you'd be ready, but my God, am I in awe of every single presentation. It was absolutely fabulous, jaw-dropping for me. And to put this all together overnight and to consolidate your ideas is exceptionally credible. And I admire that, and this is what truly makes me feel proud to be a Brunelian and an alum. And I go with what Arjuna said, is that if you can tie up your entire story of numbers, you've got probably a winning product. Thanks.
Thank you.
So I feel like most of you touched on already where to go from here, but was there anything anyone wanted to add? I'll just say, I'll repeat something that I heard David say last year, which I think is really important, and that's that there are gonna be some winners here in terms of who we give the big checks to and the real money and the venture school. But there's not really much of a correlation between who wins at pitch competitions and whose ideas maybe go on to make it big. So don't take that as a, hey, my idea is no good. Take that as a chance to ask some questions, to figure out, to move on. I don't know, does anybody else want to add anything or have any comments about where to go from here if you want to take your idea forward?
Or come up with a new idea.
Or come up with a new idea.
Just keep at it, guys, keep at it.
I guess.
I was going to, but.
Okay, don't toss anything to me. I expect it to stay off the ground. So I think that one thing that I would say is that you should continue talking to people who have experience in that area, because the thoughts that you'll get will really help you develop what you're doing. And I can say for myself, and I'm pretty sure everybody else here, that and the folks who had to leave before now, that if you want some more information, if you need some help on something, that you can contact me. Monty knows my email address.
We know where you live.
Yes. So you can get in contact with me, and I have resources. And so if you need help with something, let us know.
Yeah, and I'll note, one of the big reasons we moved Pioneer Weekend this year, from last year it was in the spring, and we moved it to the fall with the explicit notion that you all have good ideas, and maybe it wasn't the one you presented today, but you've got good ideas. And we want to help you figure out how to do something with that. And so we moved this to the fall with the idea that we can try to get you set up with our alumni, with other organizations. If you want to follow through on this, there's enough time. When we did it in the spring, it was kind of the spring, and then summer, and boom, we kind of lose touch. So if you want to follow through on this, regardless of whether you're a winner or not in terms of the cash, come in, chat with us.
The other thing is that it's not necessarily that you need a whole new idea, but you might start taking your idea in a slightly different direction. These things evolve over time. And often the thing that you end up with is considerably different than the thing you started with. I know that some of you have had that experience this weekend. Some of you didn't. Those of you who didn't, if it doesn't happen to you soon, then you're probably not thinking it through enough, because your ideas should evolve over time as you incorporate more information. But yeah, you will often be able to take what you've got and go further with it.
Okay, anything else, or should we get to the money?
Let's do these checks.
Let's do these checks. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to announce, starting with third place, I'm going to announce the winners. I'd like you to come up and grab your check, and we'll get some. We're taking pictures. Why don't all top three this year, why don't you just kind of move off to the side after you get yours, as we're announcing in a second, so we can get a picture of all three teams at once. I don't think we did that for last year. I think that would be really useful for us to have. Okay.
Drum roll. Did you want that?
That's awesome. I've got two drummers in my house, so I hear a lot of this. I want to repeat again that there was a lot of conversation. There was a lot of discussion. This was a difficult process. I don't think there was a single group that had a third place vote. In other words, there were things that were kind of all over the place. And in the end, we just kind of went with the numbers, and we had some real debate about, oh gosh, should we do that? And some people were getting, we just said, okay, we got to go with the numbers that we've got in terms of our ranking, and that's what we're going to do. So having said that, in third place, winning a check for $500, it is Roots. Alex, did you get that? Did you take a picture of the look of surprise on her face when we said that? or excitement. I'm not sure what that was. Congratulations, guys. Congratulations. So here, get around so you can have a piece of that. I'm gonna get with the first picture with you. Awesome. So just step. Did you want to get a picture of just the two of them as well? Yeah. I signed it, so I get to be in every picture. That's the rule. That's my real signature. Okay, so this one's a little bit more. This has got $1,000 attached to it. Seems like a lot of money. So in second place, for $1,000, it is Doorway.
Really good handwriting on those checks.
Yeah, gorgeous.
You're whatever you want. And then just one with just them.
For your cover photo.
All right. This is a big number. It's got $2,000 on it. In addition to the $2,000, the top place team wins a scholarship to the Venture School at the University of Iowa's John Papa John Center. And I will say, if there are others who are interested in this and have an idea that's well developed, I'm pretty sure we could work it out to get you all in. So, but this one is a guaranteed slot if you want it. Last year our winners didn't end up taking it. That's fine too. But it does have a value of, I think, $500 or $600 at least. So in third place, their first place. Oh, this is first place? Oh, that size $2,000. We should probably get on with this. Yeah. I'm building a suspense. Can you feel it? Everybody's hard. You don't even have to pound anymore. I can feel this. Ladies and gentlemen, with a check for $2,000 and a scholarship to the Venture School, it's Disruption.
Throw it up. 2K.
You get one with just that? Okay. All right, why don't we get all our teams across the stage, and Alex, can you get them all in frame here?
Yeah.
Yeah, get it nice tight. Make sure that you can see the checks too, and my signature on there. Make sure you get that.
Can you just zoom into the signature?
Yeah. Well, again, congratulations to all our winners this year. And congratulations to those who didn't receive a check today. I'm sorry, I have no doubt that the Wilson Center can find some way for you to do something that you're interested in doing this year. If you're interested in going to a conference, a pitch competition off campus, some entrepreneurial activity, some kind of leadership development, we give away a lot of money, and we give it to students. So keep Wilson in mind. Thanks very much to the judges. And Juna, I kept you late. Thank you so much to Kate and Sanjay and David, and to our crew who helped put this on. And to Robert, thank you very much, everyone. Hey, judges, wait a second. We need a picture of you. We need a quick picture of the judges. Did we lose them already? All right, here, step up on the stage, please, judges. Judges, quickly, on the stage. Alex wants to get a picture of you. And Judah's got to go. Do you want the organizers as well with us? Organizers? Are the organizers here? We got a couple of them. Let's get them up here. What? No, Sanjay's right here. Calling Sanjay Khanna, please come to the stage.
I gotta go, y'all.
Sanjay Khanna. Sanjay Khanna to the stage. Sanjay to the stage.
Where do we catch
Oh, I like it.
Okay, excellent.
They color coordinated.
It's true.
Thanks, friends.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for all your help.
Yeah.
It was a pleasure meeting you.
Insight on the portal, what's it called? Pages.
Oh, yeah,
Plans.
plans.
That's what we're executing. You know, that's our first market.
Oh, totally. Plans are jump on it. I have something that I want to
It's much fun. It's very helpful.
Absolutely. My son has a travel.
Yeah, next time we'll have to bring some costume numbers.
Oh, yeah. We gotta leave them.
Oh, so yeah.
All right.
Should we like both? Oh, is there? Thank you so much.
It's a traveling stone. We have to give it to you.
That's so nice of you. Oh my god.
Extra small, like it means, yeah, or small, yeah, something that's just big, like,
Travel stones? I already have
yeah, small.
Sure. Let's ask about the innovation.
Thank you so much. Yeah, you guys. Thank you. I'm good. Should I step down here? Yeah, I like that. Too. I feel I don't, I don't need to. Right. I want to walk back.
Come back again.
And thank you for coming that way.
Yeah. No problem. Y'all did great. Good to see you, David. Bye, Sage. Thanks for having me.
Safe travels, ladies.
So I have a large for you, and the smaller size we have is small.
So which thing? The dimensions for the thing that they're talking about, or yeah, just send me a note on that. And I will, well, why don't you go on their schedule? Because I think they have multiple venture school things, and see if the timing works for you first. And then if it does, you know, let me know. I mean, I don't think that. If I wear sweats and my old shirt, it's all exactly the same.
Yeah, that is awesome. Yeah, they were. They were sure.
Good job.
They give them all the feedback.
So at that time, we were just kind of like, we were like, we were talking about this, like when you're wearing most of the time.
Yeah, not that hard. Yeah. I would say that's like 30% of my t-shirts. Yeah, I really appreciate it. Yeah. Like where's the money? Show us. I mean, that was, I suppose that was one option.
Yeah, because of the fact.
If I had been voting for my major.
It's a county
probably that.
Yeah, I'll put it in
And
the
you addressed
chat.
this a little bit. How are you gonna get somebody to sign on with you? You're asking them to share quite a lot of database, which seems like gold to the, right? Thank you. So, but the financials in the long run is the thing that makes it difficult. Donate and
It'll be clear.